I'm Alexis Schwerhau with Campus Reform, and you're watching 5 Big Questions. Today I am joined by Oklahoma Baptist University professor Benjamin Myers. Professor Myers recently stepped up as the director of the honors program at the university and joins me now to discuss his vision for the program, as well as how students can be more immersed in Western civilization through literature. To start off our conversation, what are some books that you teach in your program that you think every student should read during their college career?
Well, that's a great question. So our program covers antiquity really up to the modern age. So they read essential books, Plato's Republic, even before that, the Homeric epics, the Old Testament, the New Testament. They read, unlike most college students, they read the entirety of Dante's Divine Comedy. I always think that when you just read the Inferno, which is what most students do if they read any of the poem at all, they get a very distorted vision of the poem and of the Middle Ages in general. So we focus on reading more of the great books rather than sort of piecemeal approaches. And we try to cover as much as we can from the beginning of Western civilization up to the challenges of the modern age.
What can students gain by increasing their literature consumption while still in school?
Right. So really our goal is to restore to students the intellectual, the spiritual, and the emotional resources of antiquity and of Christendom. Edmund Burke said that if you live only in the moment, you're a fly of the summer, right? Your experience of life is limited by your own time. And so our idea is to expand our students' sense of what it means to be human and to live in the world by freeing them to live in the fullness of time. We've been told our whole lives to live in the moment, but the moment's a very small place to live. It's sort of like being told to live your life in your coat closet, right? You really need to spread out in time to see fully what it means to be a human being and to live among other human beings and in relation to a transcendent God. And so we read literature, philosophy, theology, along with the study of history in order to free students from the tyranny of the moment.
In your tweet to announce your role as the director, you talked about preserving the permanent things. Can you explain to our viewers what this means and how it's going to be implemented in your program?
Right. And so, the permanent things, that phrase that Russell Kirk, the great conservative writer, borrowed from T.S. Eliot, really gets at sort of the reoccurring elements of the human experience and of transcendent reality. Our lives today, perhaps especially, are so often governed by trends, by the momentary thing, whatever it happens to be today. And sadly, the academic world has been no different, preoccupied by the latest, shiniest idea or thing. But a great books program like our honors program at OBU is focused on looking for those reoccurring elements, those big questions, those perennial themes in human life, and looking at what that tells us about who we are, about our meaning and our purpose. So we're looking for what lasts.
To dive a little deeper into the honors program, what is your vision for the program under your directorship?
My vision for the honors program is to see it continue to introduce students to and invite students into the great tradition of thought in the West, of theological thought, political thought, art, to continue to train students, prepare students to live lives in pursuit of truth and goodness and beauty. We do that through our a series of core courses in the Western tradition, as well as through the opportunities we have for study abroad, for undergraduate research within their disciplines. We want to invite students into a contemplative and rich life.
My final question for you: what advice would you have for students who are aspiring to be honor level students?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. So I always tell my students that the things they need to succeed in really any college endeavor, but especially in a great books, classical liberal arts sort of program, are virtues like humility. You have to be willing to acknowledge that you don't know everything before you can learn anything. This is what both Socrates, as Plato describes him, tells us, and what the Proverbs in the Judeo-Christian tradition teach, that wisdom begins in humility. So there's that need for humility, but also what we might call curiosity, or in the tradition of Thomas Aquinas, studiousness, right? The desire to know, to explore, which is related to both attentiveness and a sense of wonder. And sadly, so much of the way we do education in the modern world sort of drives that sense of wonder, of curiosity, of attentiveness out of us. So any way a student can hold on to that natural desire to explore, to wonder, to think about things that matter, that's essential for a real education.
Professor Myers, thank you so much for joining me today.